All right. Welcome to Take 3, coming to you on WTSR Radio, 93.1 FM. I'm L Omega.
And I'm Bill Nobes. Each episode of Take 3 brings you one independent artist, 3 songs, performed live, and an in-depth interview about each song. This session was recorded on September 4th, 2022 from the House of Robot.
And this episode is artist. This is my guy right here. Hello, Yatta.
Hey, what's going on? How y'all doing?
What's goody? All right, man. Growing up in an artistic home, Hello Yatta has grown through the years in creating his own pieces of art. His musical beginnings start from freestyling on the college campus, participating in text battle forums, all the way to releasing freestyles and songs on the platform Reverb Nation. It didn't take long for Hello Yatta to begin releasing his own projects under the alias Red Blitz, in which the 2 mixtapes, The Making of a Star and Red Zone, were produced and released on popular mixtape websites Dat Piff. Bringing it back. Soon after that, he discarded the alias Red Blitz and became Yatta, Hello Yatta, known in his local area for releasing his first EP, Things Have Changed, in 2014, while performing in showcases and open mics in the tri-state area. His commitment for growth, experimentation, had given him the inspiration he needed to create his first full-length album, and ever since then, in 2016, now with his recent released 3rd LP, From Love Doc, Hello Yatta is pulling back the layers of lyrical prowess and displaying more vulnerable and creative side of himself. He draws inspiration from experience in life and delving deep into music discovery. He describes himself now as less of a fan of artists and more of a fan of great music overall. That is a dope bio. I need to take a couple elements for that for mine. But nah, what's good, man?
Hey, what's going on? How's everything, man? I'm feeling good.
All right, so let's go to the first song.
Let's go to the first song.
Hey, what's going on? This is your boy, Hello Yatta. I'm here at House of Robots, and this is my song, Egg Bagels. And contrary to the title, it has nothing to do about egg bagels. Maybe like a small part. Let's go. Tell 'em. This is that vibe for my soul. Wait a minute, baby. I am not high. I am so elevated. Different echelon while I kick it. Continental breakfast. Hella egg bagels and biscuits. Not the ones we peel and shoot at our brothers. Still, I'm a lover. I'm more concerned with building the brand and healing each other. I'm more concerned with learning forgiveness, earning these riches. I'm more concerned with leveling up, not burning bridges. But sometimes the cancer is deep, managed to steep. So on my core values is where I'm planting my feet. You know I learned a thing or two from researching my spirit. I would be satisfied with at least earning my digits. Angry shorty in my ear and she's hurting my hearing. So you know it's only right that peace purging my dearest. That ain't wrong, that self-healing taking effect. Love had cost a great deal and I paid in respect. Shalom. I was telling people I purposely didn't put a hook here because I wanted you to listen to the strings, to the drums, to the kicks, to the vibe. Let's go. This is that vibe for my soul. Wait a minute, baby. I am not high, but I am so concentrated. Take up a moment, honor my greatness. I went inside the system and then I conquered the matrix. I know well enough that my greatness comes from my skin. I know well enough that my patience comes from within. I know well enough that I still have plenty of flaws. I know well enough that my face be saying it all. Good business, good people, smoothie drinks. One kingdom, one queen, a ruling king. A couple lazy days for and nudie teens, as well as dinner dates with the plays from the movie scenes. A couple disagreements on matters that usually bring a whole new perspective on how we would do this thing, yeah. This is that vibe from my soul. Wait a minute, baby. I am not high, I am so elevated. Different echelon where I kick it. Continental breakfast, hella egg bagels and biscuits. This is that vibe from my soul. Wait a minute, baby. I am not high, I am so elevated. Different echelon where I kick it. Continental breakfast, hella egg bagels and biscuits. It's so beautiful, baby. So beautiful.
Okay, that was egg bagels,
Mm-hmm.
and you said it's not really about egg bagels, but it kind of is.
So the whole thing behind that is the original title of the song was Maintenance, and the reason I called it Maintenance is because the song is more so about like personal growth. You know what I mean? Like I would say like taking these steps in life and just experiencing and growing from those situations, whether it's through people or difficulties and obstacles, and like taking those and becoming the best version of yourself. But the reason why it ended up being called Egg Bagels is because, as you could hear in the song, like I do mention egg bagels, and we were like really listening to it in the studio and going through the track list, and I have a song before that. It's called it was going to be an interlude, but it's called Coffee Break, and it just like kind of like made sense that right after Coffee Break comes egg bagels.
You must have been really hungry in the studio that time.
Yeah, you know what? Shout out to Rhodes Art. We did this. It's just like we find those things that like as we're creating that really do excite us. You know what I mean? Like any lyrics or mentions or things that I might say was just like, hey, like that's a really standout part in the song. Like why is that so impactful to us? I was just like, let's call it egg bagels, man.
Yeah.
Like, well, name it now. Do they explain it later?
Now, when I read through the lyrics, I always make notes, and one of the things that I wrote down, I mean, the personal growth,
Yeah.
but I also got a feel for being real, being authentic, but not being recognized. Is that in there, or did I miss the mark on that?
I wouldn't say not necessarily not being recognized, but like I said, definitely being real and organic, because as you like encounter certain people in your life, or situations, it's just like you really have to stand on your core values and what you believe in. You know what I mean? And it's just like, I don't want to like give like specific situations, but it's just like, certain people or situations that I was in that I was seeing that wasn't necessarily good for me. You know what I mean? Like I was doing them at the time, you know what I mean? Running around with certain people and just saying like, this is not the path that I want to go down. You know what I mean?
All right, now when you say the cancer is deep, is that what you mean by that?
Yeah, the cancer being, like those people or that environment, that thing that is dragging you down. You know what I mean? And it's just like sometimes like you have to cut that cancer off. So it's just like, and that's why I say, so on my core values is where I'm planting my feet. So really getting back to the root of what I believe in and what I know to be good. You know what I mean? And cutting off the cancerous.
Nice. You say cancer is deep, manage sleep.
Oh, manage the steep. So
Oh, okay, it's a typo.
so the cancer is deep, it managed to steep. Like how steep when tea steeps, it gets stronger. The flavor gets stronger.
All right, yeah.
So it's just like so when the cancer is deep and it managed to steep, if you spend too much time in those situations and in those kind of environments, it's like you get stuck in there. And I seen one of my old close friends more recently, still on that same stuff that, we was doing back in the day. And again, that cancerous kind of like mindset and environment, it's just like, it's plaguing them. Yep. You know what I mean? I kind of hate to say it in that format. And it's just like, it's just difficult. You know what I mean? And that's why like, you really have to, get away from that, because you see what happens when you stay and you steep in that kind of environment and you steep in that kind of mindset and those actions, and you see what happens, Yeah.
Now you say the next line's on my core values where I'm planting my feet. What are your core values? If briefly,
I would say, just my belief in God, and thinking about not only who you are, but who you are in society, like your role and the way you treat people. You know what I mean? Like it's all like some kind of small connection, like just some kind of simple mannerism that you might do for somebody in the morning, like holding the door for them, or like saying hi or good morning. Like that really can transform their day, and you in turn transforming their day, they might transform somebody else's day. Yeah. So it's just like you really have to like think about your place in the world and in society, and not only it's just like okay, what am I doing for me? What am I doing for me? It's like, what am I doing for society, for the environment?
Okay, the end of that verse, we have love will cost a great deal, and I paid in respects.
So that goes back to that kind of cancerous line. That cancerous line is like being in an unhealthy relationship. You know what I mean? And being around like those people in that kind of environment. So we all know, like, love can burn, and it can burn hot and it can burn fast. So, so like paying, like, when you pay your respects to the past, and it's like me paying my respects to that situation.
You going off of that? What happens in the past? This is talking about the angry shorty in your ear.
Yeah.
That's what I figured. He jumped, and I was going to ask about like angry shorty in my ear, and she's hurting my hearing.
So it's only right that peace purging my dearest. So because you have to kind of leave in peace, and I mean, like, in that particular situation, I didn't leave in peace. You know what I mean? It was very hot, and to the point where it's just like, I was like, had to look at myself. It's just like, don't do that again. Don't get back into that place. Like, don't show that side of you. You know what I mean? We all kind of have like this, the demon inside of us that that we can kind of release at times, but it's just like, we don't want to get to that situation. Yeah.
Yeah, you need that time away to grow a little bit too. So I've been through the same situation, so I definitely understand what you're talking about.
Yeah. So, and you need your peace, and it's just like, again, when like that's your form of like, casting those people aside, like saying that I need peace and I can't find it with this person, I have to
let them go.
Yeah.
I don't think you said this, but also when I read that, it brings to mind paying respects to your previous self too, and your past and the things that you might have done wrong, and accepting, and
because you do have to at the core forgive yourself for the things that you do. You know what I mean? Like, and I tell people always in the situation, like, I wasn't perfect in that situation either. So it's just like plenty of times where it's just like, you can harp on yourself and like really get down on yourself, but it's just like at the end of the day, like, you have to forgive yourself. Exactly. Like, you are human and you're going to make mistakes. It's a very human experience.
Have you ever had people try to bring that old self of you out again or something like that? Oh, you was that way back in the day. You still that way or something like that?
Not necessarily. I think as I've gotten older, like, I've just surrounded myself by like really good people, and it's just like when I start to notice that people might be invoking that of me, it's just like it's just like we either gotta have a conversation, like a healthy conversation, or you gotta get out. You gotta get out. Like, exactly. You gotta get out here. Like, like,
you remember me that way. I'm not that way anymore.
Exactly.
Okay, I know well enough that my greatness comes from my skin. I know well enough my patience comes from within, that I still have plenty of flaws, and that my face be saying it all.
The greatness comes from my skin. That's just like a metaphor. Like, to do great things, that you do have to be in this human vehicle. I know like a lot of people talk about like a higher consciousness and things like that, and attaining to like the next higher spiritual level. But to do great things, like you have to be in the flesh. You know what I mean? You have to be able to express those things and those ideas into tangible things. So that's where the greatness comes from. And then, but the patience, that does have to come from within. That has to come from like spiritual growth or religious growth or your belief in God. It's just like that's where it has to draw from. It's not necessary. That's not necessarily like an external thing. That's more of an internal thing.
And your face is saying it all.
I don't do well with like kind of like high and like my emotions. Like when things are annoying me, like you can kind of tell. Like, you know what I mean? Like
I wear it on my face too.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like you can just like really tell with me sometimes. Like, it's just like I have like pretty much like no poker face.
But I do see this one line on here. I'm guessing this is what your mindset is right now. One queen, one kingdom, a ruling king, a few lazy. No, not that one. Good business, good people, smoothie drinks. One queen, one kingdom, a ruling king.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that's what your mindset is now. Like, this is what you're after right now.
Yeah, because you have to kind of put those like childish and teenage mindsets kind of like behind you, and like in that, like, I did that, like playing the field, but you really get to a point where it's just like, okay, like I need like a consistent woman or partner by my side, to like really like grow and elevate, and not the right one, you know what I mean? Yeah. Because the wrong one can like easily bring you down. So it's just like, at this point in my life, it's just like, like having that structure and the stability and like having that mindset has allowed me to like, achieve greater things, you know what I mean? As opposed to, chase and tell, you know what I mean? I gotta like, focus on like the bigger picture, and like the smoothie drinks is just like kind of accompanies like the healthy lifestyle.
But I do see like the next line though too is kind of more like you're still human too.
Yeah.
A few lazy days for sexting and nudie things.
Yeah.
So like, come on, like we're human.
We're human, and we have to have a human experience as much as like,
Exactly.
like we want to kind of like present like this picture of like perfection or whatever. like we're not going to attain. We all still have our own vices. You know what I mean? Like, and we have to admit that. I think that's one of the most important things. Is just like, you know, not denying it. Like, you know, and I mean that's a very important part of growth. Like knowing you have those things and just, you know, understanding how to, you know, control them. Yeah. I think that's one of the biggest things. It's not like just not necessarily like completely stopping behaviors. Like you want to stop like completely disastrous behaviors. Yeah. But like just knowing how to control them in a healthy manner. You know what I mean? Like
being around good people, healthy people and all that really helps you change yourself into a good and healthy person. So,
exactly.
You know.
And that's why the song is about personal growth, and that's why the original title was going to be Maintenance.
Maintenance on myself.
It would have made more sense, right?
I'm glad you made the egg babies. Made me hungry after listening to it.
I mean, I forget who said it. Might have been Tim Ferriss that your life is determined by the 5 closest people to you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
To be honest, and you know, I really take that to heart. Like, you know, I really have like my core group of friends, and I mean, like, I would say like at this point, it's like real difficult to make friends. So you kind of keep that like core group, and now I find myself, you know, going back to the good business line, building relationships through good business. Yeah. You know what I mean? I think that's one of the most important things, because when you do good business, you have like a mutual benefit from each other. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of the most valuable things that you can, you know, provide to a person, and they can provide to you is a mutual benefit. You know?
I'm also about like good karma too. Like if you do somebody dirty and especially in this music business, man, you're gonna get that back. Exactly. But I always try to do good, healthy business with people, you know, fair business with people. Hey, we're both trying to get something out of something, but I want to make sure that you're happy and I leave happy, because in the end of the day, we're good. Even if it didn't work, we still have some good relationship.
Exactly.
I could put you to somebody else that can help you out. Yeah. Same vice versa with me. And I always feel like if I do somebody bad in business, I'm going to get something bad in return too. So I always try to do good business with people and all that. So.
And I think sometimes people like might try to put like a negative connotation on it, like it's about business. It's not that it's just solely about business. It's just like you got to think about it like throughout your life. Like a lot of these things is like transactional. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's just so it's not necessarily like a bad thing. And it's just like if you're doing great business with people, like people will respect you more, and like you know your reputation will increase. It's like, okay, yeah, you should work with this person because X, Y, and Z they did this. You should work with that person because like don't work with that person because you know they
bad reputation, man. I'm like, not making any money. I'm like, you screwed over everybody.
Exactly.
You know?
So, you know, it's very important, especially at these stages, you know.
All right, let's go to the next song.
Right.
So this is my next song, Energize. And this is high energy, high volume. No, this is the one that we really get into it. We start getting the crowd jumping. Let's go. And I know this is one of Omega favorites. Let's spin it. Hey, this is the high energy one, man. Rest in peace to my mother, Teresa Well-Smart. We gonna get into it. This is Energize. Let's get it. Yo, this the type one that make me go and dig in my bag. Like looking for homework while sitting in class. Knowing I ain't do it, knowing I ain't used to this cash. Knowing I ain't stupid, knowing that my youth in the past. Super reckless, who neglected, I maneuver with bags. Full with Reggie in my pockets, I was new to the swag. Never did I was smoking up the Buddha perhaps. That's gotta go through to see the beauty in that. My eyes red, bloodshot from the smoke. Gunshots ringing out when I was chilling at North. Blood gangs at its peak in the town. I was dealing with some hoes, had me sneaking around. I got both parents and each of them proud. I never been robbed, never been shot, never been jailed, never been ops unless somebody tried to stop my paper. They was bad business, too bad y'all done lost my favor. I was telling people I don't always got it figured out, but I'm figuring out this day by day, month by month, year by year, decade by decade. I just closed on my first property, so I'm always elevating, I'm always growing, so it's a beautiful thing, baby. Let's get it. And mommy said, I don't know what's best for me. Mommy said, I don't know at all. Mommy said, I don't know what's best for me. Mommy said, I don't know at all. This the type one to make me go and dig in the crates and ball hard for a bigger estate. Knowing mommy deserved it. Lay it down so it gotta be perfect. 20 times so it gotta be worth it. This time I don't do it for myself. I fill the room with the spirit that I felt. Praying to God I grow wise so the value can triple. Bring the hammer down just like Gallagher hit you. Y'all don't know that one. It just came out the black like it's Kodak's son. My latch didn't pop like an old ass gun, but this one is a bomb catch a blowback from. And I control that one like a North Korean missile when it shows that I got a flow that's dumb, but still pass any test that you throw at son. For me, I don't know at all. I don't know, baby mommy said I don't know what's best for me. Mommy said I don't know at all. Let's get it. Mommy said I don't know what's best for me. Mommy said I don't know at all. Mommy said I don't know what's best for me. Mommy said I don't know at all. Energize, baby.
That was my favorite one right there. Energized. I remember when he posted this video, and I saw it and I hit him up. I was like, "Yo, this is the one, man. This is the one." And then we recently just had a Jersey Fresh jam, and and I was talking to him about the record before he went on. I had to leave before checking him out. But after I left, Yatta hit me up in the text like, "Yo, son, I performed Energized. Everybody was going crazy." I was like, "I told you, man. Like that song is really dope." But yeah, if you could expound a little bit more on that, God rest her soul. I know you said in the beginning that was kind of like a tribute to your mother too.
Yeah.
Tell me how the concept of the song Energize, and how you came up with the song and everything.
So again, like around that time, that's when my mother passed, and like again, like music is just like the outlet for me to express myself. Yeah. One of the many outlets, but it was just like having that kind of spark of creativity and just understanding that like my mother wouldn't want me to like sit around and kind of like mope around. It's just like again I have to go through my own feelings and things like that. But understanding who she was as a person, you know what I mean, and the relationship that we had, it is full of energy. You know what I mean? Like I could talk to my mom that's like a friend. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's just like it's really kind of like expressive, and that's why it is more so upbeat. You know what I mean? And it's just like you'll hear some of the lines, and the lines are like kind of playful and metaphor and things like that. But like kind of like that's more so just like the energy that I received from my mother.
This is the type of the one that made me go and dig in my bag, like looking for homework while sitting in class. Like, you kind of brought it back to the essence, like back in high school and all that. And it seems like throughout the verse you're going through life. Even getting into trouble and, like innocent kid. Then all of a sudden now you're starting to change and get into your own. Now you're dealing with some people that, they ain't really good for you.
Exactly.
And all that stuff. So I like the progression of yourself in this song too. So.
Yeah, and this is more one of the ones that's like kind of takes me back to like the core elements of like what got me into rap too. It's just like the technical ability of it. You know, the ability to do those like double and triple entendres and like create those like crazy metaphors and be very vivid with it. Like you know the phrase like digging in your bag. So it's just like I wanted to expand on that, like digging the bag, like looking for homework while sitting in class.
Yeah, so like he's really digging in the bag.
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like I know I did it somewhere, So like so, and it's just one of like one of those kind of like playful metaphors where it's just like just thinking about it and like peeling back the layers and going, just taking something small and then expanding on it.
Before we get to the next lyric. Yo, who produced this record?
This is 18.
18?
Yeah.
Yo, shout out to 18. That'd be crazy, man. Filled with Reggie in my pocket, I was new to the swag. So is that like you diving just in, like getting into weed? So you're trying to be cool and you're like, all right, let me go try it out,
Yeah, and I mean, that's kind of like exposing my age.
Yeah. We all been there, man. Like, bro, like I've been at the same time trying to be cool, and you're like, all right, I guess this is the new thing.
But just like reflecting on my life, at that point in time, dealing with those people, like, like this is what we were doing at the age, walking around like, smoking Reggie.
Now, what year was that around?
So what was that, Reggie?
Right, because I was thinking, I'm like, maybe 2000.
Yeah, so we looking at like 2011, 2010, 2011. Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Now, you're from Trenton.
Yeah.
I understand during that time, the gang activity in Trenton, you mentioned the Bloods.
Yeah.
The Blood Gang's at its peak in the town.
Yeah.
That was a really hard time.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like growing up in Trenton and then, being in Trenton Central High, it's just like, some of your friends, might have been affiliated. And, the gang activity is just nothing to play with. People really do like legitimately lose their lives at that point, for such a small city. It's just like it had so many homicides. You know, I remember going up Calhoun Street, and you know, every couple days or you know, every week, it was a new bed sheet up there or a new T-shirt. The murders that get reported is just not even necessarily like everything that might be going on around that time. And this is like the span of like me going into high school and you know, college, and you know, getting more familiar with those people. So it's just like, I mean, I had friends that was in gangs, you know, so it was just.
I think we both had like those experiences of us getting G-checked.
Yeah.
Me and my brother Rocky walking from his grandmother's house. We was on Bellevue.
Yeah.
Yeah, and dude just what's poppin'? I'm wearing blue, and I'm like, this is good. So like, you know, that time was really crazy, you know. So I understand that. And you said you went to Trenton High, right?
Yeah.
Lawrence High too. Even Lawrenceville had Bloods out, you know, in certain areas too out there, and they were coming up to the school and all that too. So I definitely understand like the influence of like the gang culture too that was in Trenton at that point, and it's still a little bit, but you know, back then it was kind of real prevalent. Everybody wanted to be part of something, you know, and it kind of really wrecked a lot of homes. A lot of people I knew that was in it getting killed, or you know, you're hearing somebody that you know that like, man, damn, yo, like this
exactly.
is the other day, you know. So yeah, it was definitely bad and all that, and it's good that you wasn't into it, man, and you know got out of that environment and all that stuff with those people. But yeah, at that time, I definitely understand it was kind of crazy a little bit.
Yeah, it's just like you don't necessarily have to like become part of that environment. Like I remember like they would ask me like, oh yeah, you such and such little home. Like no. Like
cool.
Yeah, like we're not even going to do all that. You know.
Now it sounds like you credit your parents for giving you the strength to stand on your own.
To be honest, yeah, because like, you know, with good parenting comes good guidance. You know what I mean? And I remember like, you know, my dad, whenever we would ride around the city, it was just like, son, I never want to see you out here, you know, like these, you know, knuckleheads. Okay, yeah. So it's just like, you know, constantly like kind of hearing those messages and, you know, growing up in that environment. And, you know, we did stuff. Like, you know, my parents exposed me to like a lot. Like we went to jazz concerts and flea markets and festivals and, you know, even took a couple trips there and there. So it's just like, I feel like having that exposure and seeing more what the world has to offer will change your perspective. Like a lot of those guys that kind of like delve into that activity, it's just like they don't have a wide scope, you know. And
it's crazy that you say that too, because there's people that just don't know outside their block. Like they live on a certain amount of block, they don't know what's outside there. Like they go to their stores, maybe their school is around the corner and all that. They come home, they know a few people in their block, but they just don't leave their block.
Exactly.
Yeah, they never went out of the state. Never went out of the city. Going to your mom, he was like, I don't know what's best for me. Mommy said, I don't know at all.
Yeah.
Dive into that a little bit.
So for that one, again, like just kind of going into it, it's just like, even, you know, in my mother's advanced age, you know what I mean? Like, I don't even want to say advanced age. I mean, she was only 50.
Yeah.
So, but, you know, in her more mature age, you know, she still didn't have everything together. And it kind of made me have like the realization that like, you never really have life all the way figured out. Like I figured out that you're always going to be figuring life out as you keep going through it, whether you know 20 years old or 30 years old, you know, being a preteen, trying to figure out how to maneuver high school, trying to figure out how to maneuver college, career, you know what I mean? When you grow up, you know, family, you know, owning a home, retirement, like you just always think like trying to figure out the next level. I'll say for me at least, you know? So you know what I mean? Like just always trying to figure like, you know, okay, what's the next level? Like, what else do I have to figure out? And I feel like even now, it's still so much that I don't know. It's still so much that I kind of like have to accomplish. And like, so, you know, I might be doing the things that I feel like is best for me, but at the end of the day, like, I really don't know. Like, I'll have to see when the fruits unfold, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I love the line, bring the hammer down, it's like Gallagher hit you. I was laughing last night when I read that. It's like, I just pictured that watermelon.
But what's even better, right, is after that, he was like, y'all don't know that one. Because a lot of people are like, what's Gallagher? Like,
you're giving some of your age out now.
Yeah, so, you know. And, you know, like, I mean, I had ended up discovering Gallagher later in my life, and I actually discovered him through the Dave Chappelle skit. Oh, yeah? You know what I mean? But, you know, just having that point of reference, and I mean, like, these things come back full circle. So me saying that, like, somebody's going to, like, really, like, they're like, well, who's Gallagher? You know, like,
the hammer,
And it's just like, oh, and it's just like, I think music should be an important point of that. Like, I remember at a time where a lot of guys was like rapping, and I didn't necessarily know what they were talking about, who they were referencing. So I would go and do like my research. It was just like, well, let me find out what they're talking about, like, so I can really understand the line.
Yeah.
So that like, and again, like with this song, like just having like those kind of playful lines and like, you know, witty metaphors and things like that. It's just like something I wanted to, you know, throw in there.
That's what, as you're saying, that's one of the great things about rap is hip hop is you can play with metaphor. You can be a lot more poetic than narrative, which a lot of other genres are far more narrative. And there's a lot of experimentation in language and things you can do in the genre.
I really feel like it's getting back to that right now, especially after that new whole verse that just dropped. Like everybody's dissecting it, and I'm like, yo, I missed that. Like, I missed going back like with my friends and just listening to records like, you know, Hove and Nas and, you know, like, and all these rappers I respect and be like, yo, rewind that, what do you say?
Yeah.
And then doing that again. I think it's getting back to that. So like you saying that line is gonna have kids that ain't grow up know about Gallagher. Like,
Yeah.
let me check that out. Oh, that's cool.
Exactly.
That's a cool line.
Even with the classics like that, it's just like you can always draw inspiration from that.
Yeah.
And it's just really important in that sense. It's just like somebody might see something Gallagher does, like a comedian or something. It's just like, I really liked what he did here. Like, you know, like it might not necessarily like be for everyone, but you might be able to pick, you know, pieces of like what people do and incorporate it into what you do and create something new. You know, like, I mean, even with that example, I was able to take Gallagher and make a metaphor out of it, you know, like, like.
You fit North Korea in there too. Yeah, I mean, talk about that's a powerful metaphor, just for so many things.
So, and again, this comes back to like, you know, the subtle little influences that we kind of like get into. I remember like around that time I had read Yeon-mi Park's book, In Order to Live. And it was basically like her journey through North Korea and, you know, getting citizenship into South Korea. So it's just like I'm draw inspiration from so many different things. So it's just like I really wanted to like kind of expound on that, but I see that I was kind of like running out of time on the verse. So I was just like, I'm like let me kind of get my point across. but again, drawing influences from just different mediums. You know what I mean? It could be a book, it could be a comedian, it could be a walk in the park or something. So
I know this full album was more like introspective and all that, but I think this is one of those tracks you're like, yeah, I can still rap though.
Yeah.
So like, when you're but still pass any test that you throw at son. Like, come on, man. Like, I'm still nice with this.
Exactly. You know? So like, I can really like, you know, get into that bag and, you know, go metaphor heavy, multi-syllable rhymes and everything. I could still do that crazy. So it's just.
It's like I feel like on the album you're like, all right, wait, hold on. I gotta do this. Like it's like one of those record stops. It's like, dude, hold up.
Exactly.
Let me teach these people that I know how to rap. You know, you feel me? I'm like, forget all the introspective stuff for just 1 second. I'm gonna show y'all. So I feel like that was that record here. You know.
And that's
the record stop, you know. And
that's the thing. It's just like, you know, when we create in a body of work, especially for me, like I do want each track to have its own personality. Yeah. You know, I want like I don't want to go through this syndrome where it's just like, you know, the next song sounds like the last one, like the last one, like the last one, because people get bored of it. It's just like then it was just like, oh yeah, I like that one song, but they can't remember it because it's not distinguishable from any of the other ones. Yeah. So I really wanted to make, you know, each song distinguishable from even if they're like kind of playing that like an upbeat tempo, like you're gonna get something different from each one, you know.
Cool. Well, let's go to the third song.
And this next song that I will be performing is I Want to Scream. This is one of the most personal songs to me. This is something I wrote like almost immediately after my mother passed, so it's really just full of feeling and expression, and I want y'all to feel me on this one. Let's get it. Yo, I feel like cursing at God for the miscarriages. I feel like cursing at God for taking my mama. I feel the weight of it. Feel it disparages. I feel the weight of the world, I feel the weight of karma. I feel like a kid again, but not in the good way, cause nobody is listening. I feel like I'm fizzling, I feel like I'm bubbling. The feeling is troubling, I'm still in my punishment. I fear for a country and fear for government. I think that this time it'll be hard to love again. In need of my brother, in need of my poop out, in need of a moment, in need of a woo-ha. I have to escape now before I just break down, before I just choke in front of crowds like 8 Mile. The chamber's empty, in need of a bullet, in need of a suicidal intention of, cause I wanna scream. I wanna scream. Sometimes I wanna scream. I wanna scream, scream, scream. I wanna scream. I wanna scream. I can't lie to you. It's one of the most difficult things that I ever had to do. The most difficult thing I ever had to do. Bury my mother. Rest in peace, Mom. I love you. Let's get it. I feel like it's not fair. I feel like a nightmare. I feel like the devil is laughing at me right here. In fear of a black hole, it's taking up everything. When do I get the chance to smile at anything? Trapped in the desert, surrounded by vultures, surrounded by trigger-happy civilians with holsters. Too many young ones, victims of homicide. Too many days and nights leaving these mamas crying. Too much bull, too much nonsense, too much bad news, too much violence. I'm building my wall up, I'm building my guard up. I wanna scream so loud, chill and ball up. Maybe a hand, maybe a cold blade. Maybe I'll figure out how to die my own way. It's probably dark out. Stand by the bridge, close my eyes and jump. Cause I wanna scream. I wanna scream. Sometimes I wanna scream. I wanna scream, scream, scream. I wanna scream. I wanna scream. I wanna scream. I wanna scream, scream, scream. I wanna scream.
Yeah, man, this is Poopa. I know you was hurt last night at seeing your mother like that. You give me a...
And that was I Want to Scream. Now, when I did my review last night, what I wrote down about this song, because I did not know when I read it, it was about your mother, but I wrote in big letters, grief and loss. So that came through loud and clear.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about this song.
So this one is just I would say this is the one that really made me strip back like all like technical and like rapping ability, and I said I am just going to write exactly how I feel, you know, and it's just really at a point where you go through something so difficult, you know, you do feel that pain and that grief and that loss, and you know, it wasn't even just to the point of like my mother. It's just like just 2 years before that, like I had lost 2 kids, you know, to miscarriage and stuff like that. So it's just like, why is this happening to me? And it's just like it's okay for you to feel like that, and then, you know, losing my mother. And I remember being, you know, in the waiting room in the hospital, you know, just once they came to me with the news, just like being filled with such grief, you know, to the point where like I was like really welling out of my mouth, you know, like, so it's painful, you know. It's I tell people, I said, you know, it's, if not the painful, one of the most painful things that you'll probably ever have to go to, you know what I mean? That'll vary from person to person in their relationship, you know, but like, it's difficult.
In need of woo-ha.
A woo-ha.
What is that?
A woo-ha is just like a loud scream, like, you know, just like
a release.
Yeah,
Right,
like
right.
yeah, like
Busta Rhymes.
yeah, like
He had a song called Woo Ha.
Okay.
yeah, like something like really expressive to get this out.
I like the comparison of because I think this is a double entendre too, because you're rapping, but also you could be in front of people and choke in front of crowds. Like, wow. So like, I'm not sure if that's ever happened, you know, where you're just out and then you just break down. 'Cause I understand, because we both dealt with loss too. Yeah. And sometimes you be out and, you know, sometimes you don't want to think about it, but then it just comes and hits you. Yeah. And then you break down in front of people. Yeah. And they're like, what's wrong? But also you on a mic too, as a rapper, I don't want to break down and choke. Yeah. Like in front of people like that too. I like that line.
And that one, that was like more like I noticed that, like, you know, at that time, like I had really like secluded myself. And it was just like when I would try to like, you know, go back out and like interact with people or stuff, like I just found myself like I just did not feel like myself. Like I felt like I lost like pretty much all my confidence. Like I had difficulty like looking people in the eye and talking to them. Yeah. Like it was really like that bad. So it was just you know, people don't tell you this. Like, you know, when you go through that kind of loss and, you know, you're responsible for those things, it's just like, you know, you gotta have to like take care of the funeral arrangements and like, okay, who's going to speak and who's going to do this, and you know, I tell them, like, I never buried anybody before, and it's just like you going through like so much grief.
In fear of a black hole is taking up everything. When do I get a chance to smile at anything?
Yeah.
Just that.
Yeah, you know, feeling like, you know, when again having that close relationship, when you lose that, it's like you really feel like you lost everything.
Mm-hmm.
What's the point? You know what I mean? Like you just kind of replaying it and like just sitting. I was just sitting in the bed crying. You know what I mean? It's just like I just really felt like I lost everything, and it was like so sudden. It's not like my mom was like previously sick or anything. I think like someone was saying, it's a heart attack. You know what I mean? It was like instant. You know, so it's just like all the grief and everything was just immediate. You know.
I'm going to bring it back to the first verse, the end of it, and a lot of people don't. You know, sometimes it's hard to talk about because it's so serious and all that. But like the last couple bars, she said, "The chamber is empty, in need of a bullet, in need of a suicide intention too."
It's one of those like kind of very vulnerable lines, just to let people know that they not alone in that, because you know people feel like this like all the time through the different situations, and it's just like this was really a moment that made me feel like that. Like you know, like if my mom's not here, like I don't want to be here. Like what's really like the point?
Near the end of the hook, you say, "Too many young ones, victims of homicide. Too many days and nights leaving these mamas crying. Too much BS, too much nonsense, too much bad news, too much violence."
Yeah, and I mean, you know, we kind of, again, I know Omega and I was talking about like, you know, the environment that we come from. It's like I'm not the only one dealing with this kind of loss. You know what I mean? And the same thing with the you know, the situation in Europe right now. It's just like a lot of people are losing people. You know, is very difficult. You know, and it's just, I felt like, especially, you know, with the pandemic going on, I felt like it was like too much of it going on. Like in that span of a time, I lost multiple family members. I lost an aunt and uncle on my dad's side in that span of time, like a young cousin who was only like in his 30s. You know, a great aunt. You know, rest in peace to Stephanie Campbell. You know, we lost her around that time. Yeah, and then again, like, you know, people around the city, you hear, you know, people getting shot, unfortunately, and losing their life, and then on top of me losing my mother, like it's just so much going on,
So much loss.
Yeah, so much, you know, in such a short amount of time, you know, just in the span of like, you know, 2 years, you know, 2.5 years. So it's just it was just too much of it, you know.
So how long ago was that?
That was back in October. So
Of
it's
this year?
Last year.
Last year.
Yeah. So I mean, it's almost been, you know, a full year. So.
So how you feeling now? How you doing now?
I mean, I'll tell people like you still have your moments. You know, it's just like it's something that happened. I'll be listening to a song, and it might not even have to do anything with loss. You know, and it's just like I'll still find myself just like just having that moment, or like, you know, just doing certain things. Just like, damn, I wish my mom was here for this. You know, like it's not so much that you lost them, but that you don't get to spend any more time with them. That you thought that you had X, Y, and Z amount of years with this person. It's just like it just came to a screeching stop, you know, and you just really at the end of the day want more time.
All right. So I want to thank you, Yatta, man. Where can we find you online? Anything you got coming up, or anything new shows or anything?
New shows, not right now, but I know we are going to start working on like another video, so I am still promoting the album. That's one thing that I really had to, you know, learn this time too, is like like marketing and promotion. So you know, I'm still, you know, doing things to push the album. Like we're working on and looking at venues to do some.
Okay, where can we find the album?
So it's on Spotify, all your favorite streaming platforms. You know,
All right.
Hello Yatta.
What's your handle on Instagram and?
At Hello Yatta, HELLOYATTA.
Well, then, man, it's good to have you on, man. I appreciate you coming through, bro.
Hey, I appreciate y'all.
All right, I'm on Instagram also, Illomega, ILLOMEGA. Also on Facebook. Also follow us at Apex Club Entertainment. Also on IG, Facebook also.
And I'm on Instagram and Facebook as House of Robot, or visit houseofrobot.com.
Right. Thank you for listening to Take 3. Thank you to WTSR Radio and the College of New Jersey. And we out.